Hello out there in television land. Welcome to yet another edition of It's Your Health. Philip Benyo with my bride alongside me, bringing you the best and latest in healthcare information. But check with your healthcare provider before doing any of the things that we talk about here on It's Your Health. Right, dear?
Absolutely.
I love when she's like that. We'll be right back after this brief commercial message. Remember, you're watching It's Your Health. We're your leader in healthcare information. Be right back.
Who can take the sunshine, sprinkle it with dew.
Sweetheart, people are already using their channel changer. Please stop. Come back to us. Come back to us. Go ahead, Teach. What's up?
I was leading into the first headline.
Oh, you mean a segue? That's television lingo. Sammy told me about it.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
I'll learn that.
All right.
Do you crave chocolate?
Yes, I like chocolate.
I'm surprised you didn't say more related to that. Men who chow down on chocolate may be less likely to have a stroke. The flavonoids in it are antioxidants, and they work somewhat the same as the lycopene in tomatoes that help.
Isn't that interesting? Again, natural foods. Caffeine actually can almost do the same thing, believe it or not. We're not exactly sure. So chocolate, caffeine, and Easter pie. What more can you ask for?
I know what I could ask for.
Go right ahead.
What did you get me for Valentine's Day?
When's Valentine's Day?
It's gone.
Oh, well,
Past.
I'll catch you next year, sweetheart, on this.
Because chocolate-covered strawberries, that would have been a very healthy choice for me.
Well, we don't have to wait for Valentine's Day for me to show my love and appreciation. So I'll get some strawberries. And you forgot to tell them out there, I actually made our own chocolate-covered strawberries. You remember that?
Vaguely.
Okay.
Anyway, young and middle-aged women who eat blueberries and strawberries regularly may help lower their risk of heart attack later.
Yeah, again, we're getting back to fruits and vegetables, antioxidants, and those particular berries have been shown to cut down on bad things happening. So again, getting back to basics.
Strawberries and blueberries, and if you get them chocolate covered, you can have the chocolate covering, and I'll have the strawberries and the blueberries. It works out perfectly.
Candy's dandy, but liquor's quicker.
Well, what do you know? Listen to the next headline. You with the comments. Erectile dysfunction may signal heart disease. Doctors should look more closely at the overall health of impotent men. Men with even mild erectile dysfunction face a major extra risk of developing cardiovascular conditions, regardless of age.
Yeah, we do see that. Men will come in with a cold or a sore throat or check this or check that, and as I'm leaving the door, they'll say, hey, by the way, do you have any Viagra or Cialis samples? It's kind of like this is why they were there to begin with. But I have a couple of patients who requested these medications. We looked at things a little further. They had some blockages in their arteries, may have had a problem with their cholesterol, and ended up in some patients having underlying heart disease. So you're right, it can be a marker. So if you're having difficulty out there in the bedroom, you may want to take it to the next level and try to find out the source.
And the more difficulty you're having, the greater the risk.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Right.
Not that I'm looking at you or anything.
Oh, moi?
Virginia's here, fast asleep, not paying any attention to us, and this is her segment. This is the Virginia Jane segment. Virginia Jane. Okay. Kennel cough in dogs. Have you heard of kennel cough?
That's generally not in my medical literature, but tell us more.
Well, there's a vaccine for it, and I know that you're concerned about vaccines for people. Well, this is a vaccine for dogs, and one of the ways they get it is if they're in a cold or moist, tight condition, such as a kennel. So that's why it's called a kennel cough. But if your dog continues to cough, not just occasionally, but all the time, then you've got to get them to a vet and have them taken care of. And you really should make sure that your dog gets the vaccine for kennel cough every year.
Did ours dogs have it?
Absolutely, all of them.
Huh. Okay. I'm glad to hear that.
And what else? There's another one from Virginia Jane. Are you paying attention? She is. Okay. Many babies are healthier in homes with dogs. Babies in homes with dogs have fewer colds, fewer ear infections, and need fewer antibiotics in their first year of life than babies raised in pet-free homes. Homes with cats have healthier babies, but it's not as good as having a home with a dog.
Yeah, and you can have too much of a germ-free environment at home, and for those that are out there trying to accomplish that, you may end up having the opposite effect, so that having an animal around the house somehow bolsters a child's immune system, and there's no question they have less illnesses, so that's the good news.
We'll go into some serious information here, the prescription for your OBGYN health. And would you like to share with us what some of the aspects of that are?
Right, well, look at this list that's provided there. We'll go through these rather quickly. The first is that if you're having relations and you're having new relations, you got to be a little fearful out there of a sexually transmitted disease. And so bring that up with your healthcare provider, because that would be an important thing to make sure you don't have. Believe it or not, I've diagnosed sexually transmitted diseases in nursing home patients. So age is not necessarily an issue with regards to some of these illnesses. Make sure you keep up with your mammograms. We like you to do self-breast exams every month. Mm-hmm. And there is some controversy as whether you should have the yearly mammogram or not. I'm old school, so I would get it every year. Until you've reached a certain age, you might be able to...
What age is that?
Oh, I don't know. It's not your age, right?
Good answer.
Okay. Usually when you hit around 70-ish, 75, you might consider not having them every year. Of course, there's menopause. That doesn't mean you have to be miserable all the time, does it?
What?
Moving right along.
I'm busy.
Okay.
Actually, women in their 50s and 60s and later report they are happier in their lives than when they were younger.
Huh, why is that?
I can't say why I think, but I do think that they've gotten away from all the garbage that's going on, and they're able to cut through it all.
I see.
And live for themselves finally.
Oh, okay. The men, they take the pause from the men. That's how they get the menopause, right?
You were just waiting. You couldn't wait to say that, could you?
Can we finish the list, please?
Oh, darn. Well, go ahead.
Make sure you keep up with pap smears. Again, there's some controversy whether you should get them every year, but check with your healthcare provider. And just make sure you have a healthy relationship with your doctor, because sometimes that's the one area where I find that patients are not keeping up to date on things. Their gynecologist may have moved, or they don't like this one, or they don't like that one. So I think that that's important, that you have a rapport with your physician, especially in that area.
Women need to realize that they don't have to stay with the same doctor. You might have one OBGYN for when you're in your 20s, and might feel more comfortable when you're older with someone else, and that's okay.
That is okay. And so don't be afraid to change physicians if the chemistry is not there. But don't change your channel. Stick with News 13 Samsung Productions, because we're going to take a brief commercial message and be right back with more of It's Your Health. Remember, your healthcare provider. Remember, we're your leader in healthcare information. We'll be right back after this brief commercial message. Right, sweetheart?
Right, sweetheart. I hate to bring this up publicly, but did you get a chance to do that little bit of laundry I asked you to do?
Yes, I mixed the whites and the things, and they're all one color now. You'll love it.
They're all pink. I know.
That's okay.
And, you know, it wouldn't hurt you to do some of the housework. Is there a reason that you don't?
Well, it turns out when I do more housework, I see less of you in a personal way. Is there a correlation between this?
Well, you must have read my first headline, because yes, there is. For husbands, does more housework mean less sex? If you're one of those husbands who thinks taking over some of your wife's household chores will translate into having more sex more often, maybe you should think again. The opposite may be true.
I'm stopping cooking for you anymore.
I thought you stopped that a couple weeks ago.
Why is this? Why does that happen? Why does, if a husband thinks he's helping you out wearing an apron, you're going to get less personal activity?
They're not sure, but they postulate that women then see the man as an equal in taking care of the home rather than as a sex object, so to speak.
More.
And so they think of you less sexually when they look at you than if you were doing manly chores like cutting wood.
Oh, okay. I'm back to shoveling snow and cutting wood, and you're back on the laundry.
Oh, well, that wasn't a good headline
You
then.
still can't cook, I'm sorry.
I know where the kitchen is.
You don't know where the oven is.
I
go ahead.
do. Get married and cut your heart attack risk. So there, marriage appears to reduce the risk of heart attacks for both men and women. Being single or living alone increases the risk for developing and dying from heart disease. This is true in both men and women of all ages.
Yeah, I kind of believe that. You need a soulmate in life. You need another wing in order to fly, right? So, and we see that often, unfortunately, when as we age, someone gets widowed out there, and it's not too long before the surviving person runs into more healthcare problems.
Well, I think when you have someone else, you take care of each other. You notice if the other one isn't feeling right or if something's wrong, and you tend to nag somebody into going to the doctor or doing what they need to do. Not that I would ever nag.
That's a good action verb, sweetheart. I'm glad you brought that
Nag,
up.
N-A-G, I know that. I may be nagging when we get home today.
All righty.
Sweetened drinks linked to depression. Drinking sweetened beverages, not including Coca-Cola, no, it doesn't say that, may be linked with a slightly higher depression risk, while drinking coffee may slightly lower the risk.
Hey, that's a little...
What if you put sugar in the coffee?
Well, perhaps sweetened stuff can somehow lead to depression. They talk about a mechanism for this. I'm not aware that there's any chemical...
I have no idea.
It's
I
just
have
a
no clue.
statistical thing. Maybe we're just becoming, as a society, into sweets and things like that.
I don't know, maybe people are already depressed and they take sweets and eat and drink sweets to try to lift their mood.
Oh.
And it does that for a very short period of time. So I tend to think that depression comes first, and then the sweetened drinks come and sweetened food comes second.
Right, as sort of a comfort thing. That's a good
Exactly.
point. I like that idea.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Very good.
He likes that. That's one. Okay, that's one. And what did you get me for our wedding anniversary?
When's that?
It's past.
Oh, well, next year, sweetheart. You wait and see.
But this was a big one.
Your ship will come in.
This was an important one.
They're all big and important to me, darling.
Okay, here's a question coming from the audience to save your skin. I'm going to therapy. Why is it taking so long for me to feel better?
Right. They must be dealing with some anxiety and depression, and which, by the way, we generally encourage talk therapy rather than necessarily taking a medication, although some medications are required in order to correct a chemical imbalance. It's talk therapy which has been shown to really kind of win the day. And it's slow going, and it took a long time for you to kind of get into that anxiety, depressive state, and it takes perhaps just as long to sort of climb out of it. And the therapy has a way of unraveling sort of the reasons you got in that position to begin with, and it takes time to build those walls and bridges that will help you climb out of that. Is that pretty accurate or not?
Well, why is it that when I talk to you, You don't even listen.
Well, it takes time. I just told you. How many years of marriage have we had?
20.
Right. So it takes time. This is exactly what we're saying. It takes time for talk therapy to make a difference. Wait about another 20 and I'll be where you should be.
And you'll be listening to me.
Yes,
Not
indeed.
a chance in the world. Okay. Next thing, talking about depression, man down. The signs of depression are different for a man. He tends, when he's depressed, to work harder, be more driven, be irritable, and you won't see the signs of being despondent or laying back and doing nothing. He tends to try high-risk activities, drink more alcohol, sleep less, and it's all because he's feeling stress. I think this is really interesting because I could relate to some of the things that they were saying about this.
Moi?
Of course not.
Okay, thanks. Well, she is correct. Men deal with adversity.
What was that you just said? She?
Men
No,
deal-
before that, you said she.
She's correct.
Okay.
Men deal with adversity in different ways than women, and women tend to talk about
really
it. And
awful ways.
right. So if your man out there is acting more irritable, drinking more, doing more high-risk behaviors, and kind of getting into his work a little bit more, it could be a sign of depression. Again, they don't sit around and mope like you women do. So
Yeah, but at least you know something's wrong.
That's true.
Instead of being irritable and picking on somebody and finding fault with, no, he would never do that.
Not me.
You know what? We're running out of time very quickly. Would you like to do one more?
Yes.
Okay, this is a good one. A good mood may boost seniors' brain power. So if senior citizens are in a good frame of mind, they tend to do better on brain-related tests.
Exactly, and socialization is key. Getting out there and doing things, doing fun things will increase your brain power as well. And of course the opposite is true, and so that you can slide mentally if you're not driven socially.
And finally, TV viewing is linked to lower sperm count. Just as if you wear tight-fitting pants, it heats up down there. The same thing when you sit and watch television for a long time, you lower your sperm count.
Huh. So if you don't want to get depressed, don't change that channel. Keep it on Samsung Productions, It's Your Health. We'll be back right after this brief commercial message. Remember, you're watching It's Your Health. We're your leader in healthcare information. Welcome back to the third segment of It's Your Health, the fastest 30 minutes, although not this time, but go ahead, sweetheart, darling, love of my life. Lead us into the frontiers of medical knowledge here.
No.
Wait a minute, you always say that. Don't say it to our viewing audience.
Well, I want to talk about TV viewing and how that leads to a lower sperm count. Would you like to explain that?
Yeah, well, it's not too earth-shattering.
So it's simple to explain.
I think so. Do you want to just read the headline first, and then I'll digress?
Healthy young men who watch TV for more than 20 hours a week have almost half the sperm count of men who watch very little television. We know that men who wear too tight underwear have poorer sperm, so it's not a million miles away from sitting on the sofa for too long and heating up.
That's right. There's a reason why testicles are outside us, because they have to remain cool in order for sperm to do what they're supposed to do. So bicycle riding, tight shorts, and sitting for prolonged periods of time, such as watching television.
Not like It's Your Health, though, because that's just a 30-minute show. So that doesn't count.
That doesn't count. So if you're having difficulty with fertility issues, that could be one reason, believe it or not.
I believe it.
Okay.
I believe everything you say.
You're kidding me.
Everything. Every word that comes out of your mouth, I believe.
Well, that's a good anniversary present right there.
For you. Not for me.
Well, we'll throw in Valentine's there as well.
Okay, next headline. Vegetarian diet may cut heart disease risk. The risk of hospitalization or death from heart disease is almost a third lower for vegetarians than for people who eat meat and fish.
Again, not surprising. You want to cut down on your fats, and we're actually kind of looking at the Mediterranean diet, and a close one to that is that DASH diet, which also reduces the amount of sodium. So again, fruits and veggies, lowering the fats, trying to cut down on the sodium, all these are going to translate to better health care for you and your family.
They do a study every year of what the best diet program is, and for the past forever, the DASH diet has won as the best one.
Yeah, and you know that we get so much sodium in our diets, especially if you're into processed food. You can get literally days worth of sodium with just one meal. So you really got to be careful of that.
Or one snack.
Or one snack, yes.
But not chocolate-covered strawberries.
No, they're sodium-free.
Oh, okay, good. Our next headline is a number, 3,800.
On any given day, the number of Americans under 18 who smoke their first cigarette. You know, it's just hard to believe. If I told someone out there, listen, I want you to start your car and put your mouth on the exhaust pipe and inhale that, you would actually be inhaling less toxic stuff than with a cigarette. And here we have...
But don't try that at home.
Yeah, don't do that without checking with your healthcare provider first. But nevertheless, you have this craziness, and it's affecting the younger folks. They're getting hooked on cigarettes, and it will some of them will carry that through to their adult life. And you think in today's day and age that that they would think twice about doing that, but they're just becoming an epidemic.
Yep.
So that's a big number.
3,800 a day.
Right.
Wow. Why don't you tell us now about white noise, what it is?
Well, white noise is interesting. When you go sometimes into someone's home, they have the television on, no one's watching it. They might have the radio on, but usually they have several appliances on, particularly the television, and no one's watching these programs. They're just kind of like background white noise. And they showed that kids really don't do well under that type of environment.
Well, they tend to concentrate on the television, and then they tend to do less of playing, reading, and other interactive kinds of things. It's more of just sitting watching the television. So the best thing you can do for your child is cut down on the TV time, and cut down on the TV time for yourself, too.
Yeah, just don't have it on as background noise. That's why we have wives, right?
Isn't he
moving right
a
along?
riot? All right, I have another question for you. Let's
Alrighty.
get back on track here. Can hamstring injuries be prevented?
Oh, good question. I had one. And,
I know it was a good question.
Come springish, everybody's going to want to try to get out there and do things because they want to get back in shape. Hamstring injuries are difficult. That, of course, is when you pull the muscle in the back of your leg and it actually tears. Interesting reason why. If you're going in a car, say 50 miles an hour straight, you don't feel the car turning or twisting. But if you made a sharp turn going 50 miles an hour, you would, of course, feel that sensation. Mm-hmm. Well, the muscle is no different. You can run straight almost at any given strength or go as fast as you want, and it's not going to put a strain on the muscle. The hamstring tears when you make a turn. So running to first base is not the issue. Turning and going to second is where you pull your hamstring.
That's what I was just going to say. It sounds like baseball is definitely not a healthy thing. Well, is there a way to prevent it?
Well, doing some warm-up exercises would be one thing. Doing strengthening exercises to begin with so that you're not going out and doing a weekend warrior activity. You really should be kind of hitting the gym, doing some strengthening exercises first. And what's key, especially in colder weather, is to warm up first. You'll notice that all ball players are out there warming up, doing stretching exercises.
Do you do that when you play?
Yes. I do them with you. So.
Okay, next one. Teen wolf.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about that.
Teen wolf. Do you sometimes think that your teenage child is living on another planet? That they're a different species? They're always in a bad mood. They're always angry. They always think their parents don't know anything. This is normal for a teenager. They're learning to pull away from their parents. They're having their first relationships break and make, and they're dealing with school. And all of this causes so very much stress that sometimes we do see them as a teen wolf.
Right. Well, we've been there, done that. But today, you know, when our children were growing up, I think it was a different age and style, if you will. Today, it's just a different world, and there's a lot of anger out there. There's a lot of other sidebars that are pulling our youths in many directions. I guess communication's the key in trying to stay their friends, if you will.
And to notice if there's really something going on, to watch their sleep patterns, watch what they're eating, have they changed the friends that they're hanging around with. That's all important to observe.
Yeah, and sleep has a great deal to do with this. You need about 8 hours of sleep, even as a youngster, as a teenager. So if you are having a teenager out there that has difficulty and behavioral issues, I would look at the sleep pattern first. That may be the first key that there's something going on. You need your rest. And speaking of rest, we are going to take a rest from It's Your Health. Thank you for joining us.
I have more to say.
Thank you for joining us and allowing us to inform you and entertain you. We'll be right back. No, we won't be right back. This is the end.
It sure is, and it was quite an experience.
Thank you for joining us. Remember, we are your healthcare provider. Thank you for joining us on It's Your Health. See you next time. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.